workshops has been tailored to kind of take you through what we went through this morning, just the very basics on the cycle of rain, although this is a pretty sophisticated group and you jump right into what we all see in our communities is a lot of contamination. And so the idea is that we're going to have 4 workshops. If you look into your folder, you'll see a white piece of paper that has the code register for the other 2 workshops that are coming up. One of them is going to be tailored around environmental justice in conjunction with the LA Waterkeeper, who's going to talk a lot about how communities can go out and do their own sampling. And so the idea is to get this kind of well-rounded understanding of how water works, some of the problems in our EJ communities, and then understand some of the funding that is out there for community groups that, so that we can do projects in our own community. I think that what we heard from Brian today, he's really an awesome friend of ours, but it's on a different level than what the grassroots community groups can do. And just because someone like Brian has a good handle on his part, it doesn't mean, in fact, it totally doesn't mean that we don't have really great ideas coming from the community. We think about it all the time, we turn on our faucets, we see it there. And so the trends that really are changing now with how water is captured, some of you are pretty young, maybe you won't remember as clearly as I do, but remember when they were painting all the storm drains saying leads out to the ocean, and they had a little dolphin on there to let people know. Well, that was kind of what people were doing in water management. They were just shuffling it off into the ocean. There wasn't really a lot of thought about what you heard today about capturing it and recharging the groundwater. So these are changes that are happening with the water masters and the water purveyors and the water movers. And so I wrote the grant for these workshops for the LAEJ network in the hopes that the communities don't get left behind in the decision making and the idea department. So once we go through these workshops, we're going to also work with your groups to try and think of a project that you guys might want to do in your community, in your yard. And so there's kind of a method to our madness here. Today when we go see the Eco Garden, you might get some ideas for the projects that you would like to see in your community. But this is really a call to action. It's not just we want to tell you a bunch of stuff and then you just got to wait for someone to do something. The idea is we know what to do. We'll get a little bit of money, hopefully, if that's something that groups want to do. And then we'll put into action what we think needs to happen in our communities. So does that help a little bit? I mean, you know, anybody who knows me knows I could be up here for 4 hours straight and not even breathe and just tell you everything you ever want to know. But it's not my job to do that right now. But I did want to kind of let you know that this is a series of workshops, and we hope that you'll continue on with this series. So the pre-survey evaluations are very important. Most of you may or may not know, but today you'll be getting a stipend for attendance because we just really appreciate you taking the time on Earth Day. And so I'll be looking for those surveys, and I'll be looking for my translation equipment to get back before we hand over the cold hard cash. But if there's any questions that I can answer like real shortly on what I just said about what we're trying to do with this cycle of workshops, I'm happy to. And if not, then we will pass it on to our next presenter. Okay, well, I must be pretty clear. Okay, hold on, let me, you're going to use your outside voice?
Just a quick question I had was for the water symposium. Like, how soon do we have to identify what we would want to present on? And are we going to get to see like what other folks are? I just know a lot of us are from Division 4, and I would want to make sure there's like a diverse or range of different things going on in our communities.
Very good question. And so yes, our final come together meeting is going to at the California Endowment. And what we hope is that you can all present your projects that you've been working on to other water folks, to communities. And so part of what we want to do is bring in the, I always call everybody a water master. I know that that's a very specific person.
Watershed coordinator.
Thank you so much, Caroline. So your watershed coordinators are the folks that are kind of in charge of your specific basins. And so I don't think it's the next meeting, but the one after. Is it the next one?
It's workshop 4. No, workshop 3, you'll meet your watershed coordinator. And workshop 4, we'll talk about projects and show, give you a sampling of projects.
Yeah, and they can range from anything from having a rain barrel, a rain garden, to drought-resistant plants, to, as Felipe would like to do, rip up his area of the LA River and get some drainage going. So that would be a pretty ambitious one, but we're capable of ambitious things. So it just depends really on the capacity of your group. And so these workshops will end with the 4th one, and that's when we can begin the one-on-one with you in your community. So let's say you guys wanted to do rain garden. And so we would bring in someone specifically to tell you more about rain gardens to try and, get you on the path to success.
I have one last question, sorry. For the final presentation, is the goal to have like an action item, or can it be informational? So I'm just trying to get a better idea of I know students have talked about proposing putting something on campus like filters versus a case study, breakdown of one of the campaigns we're doing and how it's impacting water quality. So I'm just trying to get a better idea of what the outcome should be.
I think the bigger answer is whatever you want it to be. I have faith in all of you in this room. Your groups have brought you in, you're smart. So it can be whatever you think fits best for what you're doing in your community. We don't need you to reinvent something. We all know that you're already working very hard on projects. So it's an opportunity to work together on those, but also to showcase them to some of the other folks like Brian and folks at the Metropolitan Water District, LA Waterkeeper. We have a lot in our communities to share, and we just don't often have the platform to do it. So this is really the platform for all of you to shine, and we just want to be here to support your shininess. Good?
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Turn it over to you. You're good?
Yes. Can everyone hear me okay?
Yes.
Ready? Thank you guys for having me today. You guys are an active and vocal group, and so I appreciate you guys extending the invitation for the Metropolitan Water District to present to you guys today. So my name is Karina Sandique. I work for the Metropolitan Water District, and here I am going to talk about being water-wise in 2023 and what that means for our service area. So many of you in this room, hopefully you know who we are, but if not, the common question I often get is, who is Metropolitan? So you will never see Metropolitan Water District on your current water bill, and it's not a very common household name. However, if you live in any of these areas that indicate in the orange, you essentially may get your water from Metropolitan Water District. We are the nation's largest water wholesaler, and we deliver clean and reliable drinking water to over 26 member agencies in Southern California. So our service territory covers 6 counties, including LA, Riverside, San Bernardino, Ventura, Orange County, and San Diego. Our district covers 19 million people across a service area of over 5,000 square miles, and we deliver water to over $1 trillion regional economy. So how does the water, essentially when you turn on your faucet, exist? So to understand that, we do need to review the water cycle. Ryan did a great review of the water cycle, so I won't get too much in depth. But essentially what we need to know is water is essential for life on Earth. It's a very complex process. So as he described, liquid water evaporates into water vapor, that condenses into clouds, and that precipitates back into the earth in the form of rain, or in our case, snowpack, which is very important for Metropolitan Water District. So where does Metropolitan get our water? So we can deliver that to our 26 member agencies. So a third of our water comes from the State Water Project. This water is actually from the Northern Sierra region. So it's right over here. And as you can see from the light blue line, that water is actually imported and travels all the way from Northern Bay Area all the way to Southern California. 25% of our water comes from the Colorado River, and the rest of our supplies are actually local supplies, so that includes the LA Aqueduct, conservation, groundwater, as well as desalination and recycling. So after many years of drought, with little to no rain or snowfall, as all of us know in California, we were hit with some great winter storms. And I say great because these storms inevitably helped our snowpack in both our Colorado River as well as our State Water Project areas. So the snowpack and our reservoirs benefited greatly from the past recent storms. As you can see from the chart in the middle, in April we received essentially double of what our normal range is, which is great news for California because this wet winter essentially benefits a higher State Water Project allocation. So what that means for all of Southern California is with the higher State Water Project allocation for Metropolitan, we then get more supplies to then distribute to all of our member agencies who rely on the State Water Project for their source of water. So a higher allocation essentially just brings more water into storage. So as the snowpack melts, that creates more water, which then refills our reservoirs, and just overall just provides a healthy water supply for our region. Now, talking about drought may seem counterintuitive because of what you guys have seen, the atmospheric rivers, the atmospheric storms, but California's water system is very complex. To recover from this drought, we need healthy snowpack both in our Sierras and our Rockies, and to refill our reservoirs and our groundwater basins. Though the conditions on the State Water Project have increased and have benefited greatly from the recent storms, the Colorado River is still in dire need, and due to the past 2 decades worth of severe drought and dire conditions, although they benefited slightly from the recent storms, there's a lot more work ahead on the Colorado River. So as you can see, I just grabbed 2 headlines. These are recent headlines that were in the news just within the past month. So Metropolitan and all of the groundwater basin states that rely on the Colorado River are all meeting together and are all coming up with proposals to present to the federal government on how we plan to essentially use and conserve water essentially in the next decade. And that is something that we continuously are working on. It's not an easy solution. It won't be essentially solved like in a very short period of time, so it will take a lot of work, and on top of that, it will need everyone who relies on the Colorado River. So that's about 40 million people and about 6 million acres of farmland to all conserve water and think about how they use water in 2023 and beyond. So now I just wanted to bring this locally. We spoke about the other 2 imported sources of water, the State Water Project and the Colorado River. Now I just wanted to bring this kind of closer to home. So as you can see, the left is the Hollywood Hills, and the right is actually from Lake Arrowhead. So we cannot control the weather in California, as Brian eloquently said during his presentation. We can only adapt to how we manage, plan, and invest in water systems for long-term resiliency for the future. So with that, it is important for all of Southern California, as well as everywhere in the United States, to use water efficiency, and specifically in California, make water conservation a way of life. And so that includes just using water wisely in your homes, your gardens, your businesses, and just overall across the community. And Metropolitan and your local water agencies are here to help. So what can you do when you leave this presentation? So I encourage everyone, when you go home this afternoon, to look and reflect on how you use water in your own homes. So what are the biggest water users in your home? How old are the fixtures? If any of your fixtures have this symbol, this is the water sense symbol. Essentially, the EPA has certified that certain requirements meet water efficient devices, or meet water efficiency requirements. And so if you see any of these stickers on a toilet, a controller, at your local like Home Depot, Lowe's, or any of your irrigation shops, that means that it's saving water and it meets California code. So let's say you go home and you realize your toilet is using a lot of water. It may be leaking. So what do you do next? Next, you can take advantage of any of our rebate or incentive programs that we offer. So the first three I'm going to go over in more detail in the next few slides. I'm going to focus more on our residential rebates, but we do offer rebates for commercial and industrial businesses as well. So if you have a commercial property that is over an acre in size, we do offer a free landscape survey. If anyone here is an entrepreneur or has a great idea for technology or strategy to help save water, we do have an innovative conservation program. This is essentially a research grant that provides up to $50,000 for a research project for you to pursue for 2 years. And anyone can apply, whether it's a huge idea or something small. We encourage everyone to look into the program. The next is the Water Savings Incentive Program. So for example, if you own or work at a laundromat and you want to make changes to all your laundry machines and make them more efficient, you can actually earn more money than you would through our regular device rebate program. And essentially this is a pay for performance program, so the more water you save, the more rebate funding that you will receive. And we also partner with all 26 member agencies. We provide them funding to pursue their own localized programs. So if you live or work in any of our member agencies, most likely one or some of their conservation programs that is directly created to support all of your local communities is provided from our funding for Metropolitan. So if you live in a single family home, this also includes any renters in the audience, we do provide a rebate. So we do provide a rebate for the following indoor devices. So anywhere where you see a asterisk, that means that there's a potential that your local agency has actually added additional money. So these are considered our base rebates for Metropolitan, and depending on where you live, you can actually earn more depending on how much your agency has provided. So we provide rebates for clothes washers, premium high efficiency toilets, flow monitoring devices. So flow monitoring devices are a device, it essentially tracks water flow into your property and can help you detect a leak if there's one present. Outdoors, we do have rebates for smart irrigation controllers, rotating sprinkler nozzles, as well as soil moisture sensors. And outdoors, we also provide, if anyone here is interested in saving water for the next rainstorm, we do provide rebates for rain barrels and cisterns. So depending on your cistern size, we do offer rebates from $250 to $350. reached record-breaking participation. Since 2015, we have removed over 200 million square feet of turf, which equates to about 8 billion gallons of water saved. That number continues to rise as we are one in the few agencies across the nation that still manage and still offer a turf program, even though the drought conditions in California have changed over the couple years. And to learn more about our turf program and the website, it is SoCalWaterSmart.com. If you were to participate in this program, if you live in a residential property, you can earn up to $10,000 for removing up to 5,000 square feet of turf. So that's a $2 per square foot removal rebate. If you are part of a commercial property, it increases to, you can earn up to $100,000 if you remove up to 50,000 square feet of turf. And so, the next few slides, I just wanted to provide you some inspiration and just some examples of successful participation in our program. So this is an example of a walkway area where turf was removed. As you can see, as part of our program, you don't have to remove all the turf on your property. You can actually select which portions of your property you want to remove. This area, as you can see here, I know it's very small, but this is actually what we consider runoff. So it's water that's not being absorbed by any plant material, but it's just running off into the street and eventually will run off into the storm drains. As you can see, they're transitioned to a California-friendly and sustainable landscape. They actually remove the potential for runoff. So over time, although this looks small, everyone familiar with an irrigation schedule will know that usually the irrigation will go out multiple times during the week. So although this looks very small, over the course of potentially even up to like an hour, 45 minutes, 30 minutes, this water will build up, and it's just gallons of water that could have otherwise be saved or that could have otherwise gone into the plants or trees. Here's another example from a backyard. The customer did choose to install a dry river creek bed. This is a sustainability feature that we require in all of our applications. They don't have to choose this one in particular, but they do have to install or implement some sort of sustainability feature that captures rainwater and essentially just puts water back into the landscape. This landscape, as you can see, there's actually a recreation area that was dedicated for the children in the back of the yard. So this space was purely just used as ornamental grass, and even though they removed the grass, they still kept some of the greenery, they have flowers, and this will eventually be able to attract different types of insects or bees to the area, which will benefit the whole ecosystem overall. Next, I wanted just to share an image of a parkway. The parkway is the area between the sidewalk and the street. As you can see here, the customer did remove all of the grass and replaced it with some mulch as well as some California-friendly plants. Although you cannot see it here, there is actually drip irrigation installed. So although we removed the sprinklers, this tree and all of the plants are still being irrigated by drip irrigation, which is underneath the mulch. And here's just another example. This customer actually utilized our rebate to create a feature in their front yard. So they created another dry river creek bed, and this just, one of the comments from this applicant was it offered them the ability to stand out from some of their neighbors. And lastly, here's another front yard example. This customer decided to utilize decomposed granite, also known as DG. DG is permeable to water, so it is great because they created a walkway to their front yard while still installing California-friendly landscaping and created a natural pathway that wouldn't have existed when lawn was present. And so now, I want to talk about some of our other incentives that we offer. We do offer free classes for anyone in our service area. These classes are virtual, and we are beginning to bring some back in person, but it's mostly virtual right now. All of these all you have to do is register, and all you need is a phone, tablet, or a computer to be able to participate. For example, these classes are on California-friendly native landscaping. So this will give you an overview of how to choose and how to care for California-friendly native plants. We also have a turf removal and garden transformation workshop. This is great. If anyone here has removed turf, you know how extensive and how hard the project can be. This class will essentially teach you how to remove your turf without using any chemicals and how to essentially build a healthy soil for all of your future garden and your plants to thrive in. Another one is our MWD Garden Design Workshop. So this one will provide you step-to-step instructions on how to design a California-friendly garden. And lastly, we have Transform Your Yard. So this, these set of classes provide information on rainwater capture, irrigation schedules, drip irrigation, and it's just overall some of our other classes that we found to be pretty popular amongst homeowners and professionals that they'd love to learn more about. And lastly, if there's any professionals in the room who are in the landscape industry, Metropolitan has provided 2 free educational opportunities. We partnered with the California Landscape, CLCA, so California Landscape Contractors Association. So one of them is a dual certification program. It's called WELL DCP. And essentially you can become a CLCA certified water manager and a qualified water efficient landscaper, all in this training. It's completely free to attend. Another workshop that we provide for free is our MWELA workshops. MWELA stands for the Model Water Efficient Landscape Ordinance. So if you have a new landscape or if you're doing a large rehab of an existing landscape, you would be required to follow this ordinance as part of state law. And we do offer a workshop with a landscape professional who will kind of just break down all of the key points that you need to know when you're working on a landscape project. And so all of these are free again. We will be hosting new sessions this fall. Unfortunately, the last ones for the spring just ended within the past couple weeks. So the fall dates will be released within the next couple months as we finalize the location. And the website is on the bottom of the screen. It is clca.org/welldcp and clca.org/mwell. We will keep these websites updated as we confirm the dates and times for the next workshops. And lastly, I know I covered a lot in this presentation, but most importantly, I want to just leave you guys with these 3 next steps. One is to take action at home, whether that be just checking to make sure you don't have any leaks or checking to see the age of your fixtures. 2 is just to take advantage of our rebates and incentive programs, whether that be replacing your older toilet with a new one and saving some money with our rebate program, or even enrolling in some of our free classes. And next is just to share what you've learned with others. The water conservation is something that I feel like everyone can benefit from, and no one person can resolve or solve all of the issues in California, but together as a community, that's how we'll really make a change. And you guys all just being here today is doing your part, so we would really appreciate that. And that concludes my presentation. Our website for all of our incentive programs can be found at bewaterwise.com.